So, Lucy, we have just finished the first part of our Arts Council bid where we basically get to play with lots of people, which is great. So we get to play with hopefully 3 artists, finding out a bit more about like just the online world and the technologies that are out there that we might be able to use. So our first artist was Leon Trimble, who is an audio visual experimental performer, a VJ.
Wizard, I think a wizard, isn't it?
Yeah,
he talks, he's
he's doing a master's at the Birmingham Conservatoire, and he said, kind of if it looks like magic, it kind of is magic. So he's using this digital stuff and actually dresses up as a wizard to make amazing things happen here, there, and everywhere. So he's got all sorts of little bits that he does that we didn't know about when we started. And so we've had some time with him. We had a play at Blast, and I found out loads of things. What have we found out, do you think, so far on our journey from Leon?
Yeah, so I mean, it was interesting for me because I'm a kind of really low tech person. So getting involved with, I mean, it's almost, I don't think it would be too strong to say that I kind of feel that some of it is like the dark arts. The virtual reality world seems to me to have presented a lot of problems for our people, particularly maybe for the young men getting trapped in the screen. So the gaming world, definitely, in my kind of opinion, to date, has felt like a kind of, not a very wholesome zone. However, working when, and I mean, we were talking about this and realizing just how, our fixed opinions actually have been challenged by this work.
Well, the thing is, I was determined to come to this with an open mind. And when Leon said, "Oh, what you need to do is you should go to the gaming world. We can make a game," my instant reaction was, "Oh, we don't think so." And I just felt that snobbishness and that kind of rising up within me. And no, I'm going to be open to this. But at the same time, I was really going, well, I want to be able to tell stories. I want to work with this particular material. I don't want to be writing for Dungeons and Dragons. And there was kind of a moment when we realised that what Leon meant by game and what I meant by game were totally different things. So I kind of definitely saw it as a game that you had something to do, like there was something you had to achieve, and that there might be storytelling within that game, but the narrative, the story within that was then like you had to find this and you had to achieve that and you get points for doing that. And I'm not interested in that particularly at all.
No, that's right.
And Leon was like, "Oh no, it's just like a space." And what he meant was just a space. So what I would describe as an online exhibition space, he would call a game, and he would probably think, what my words, he would probably have an image of something very, very boring, which wasn't, kind of just like corridors and things stuck up on the wall, which wasn't what I wanted either. And so he showed us spaces where you don't have to do anything, where there's, kind of like you just wander around in a space. Or there was one that had, you could be like a sheep or a blade of grass or an atom and then a quark. And then when you were out in space as a quark, you'd start encountering mindfulness lectures on the nature of reality. And that suddenly opened a door for me, I have to say.
Yeah, and I actually did feel the need to actually properly apologize because I hadn't understood. So, I'd had my mind expanded actually, beyond my preconceptions and beyond my judgments. I will hold, however, to the truth, or my truth, that what's important is emotional experience. And if that can be achieved, and acknowledgement of emotional response and understanding of that, which is something that bothers me about the whole AI kind of experience in the world. So that if we can use the technology in a really good way, then that's kind of beautiful. But I'm not that easily won over, or I'm just really kind of old fashioned. But it's just, as a piece of collaboration, it's brilliantly challenging and mind expanding.
What what it really highlighted for me is how insular I think I've become. And I think that applies to most people that, we talk about bubbles on Facebook and things, that my social bubble, my work bubble is definitely a bubble. And I think the walls have been hardening on that. So I can tell you about brilliant storytellers almost anywhere in the world. And I have that network and that connections. I'm very aware of where they are and what they do. And just the experience, I think, of trying to find technology artists, of reaching out, into a different world and kind of trying to just find those people. And people say, oh, just Google it. But it's kind of,
Yeah,
yes, you've got that portal now that you can just Google something, but then a whole load of stuff comes up. Load of it is adverts. Most of it isn't what I'm looking for at all. And then when you do find people, you don't know if they're any good or not, if you haven't had a personal recommendation. So that's kind of like an onslaught. And for me, when I saw that game that had the mindfulness lectures in, the bit that really kind of resonated for me was just a moment of going, oh, there are people in game spaces who are looking for a connection. They're looking for mindfulness. They're looking that people who were engaging with this game are going to be interested in poetry. They're going to be interested in storytelling. They're going to be interested in things that I'm interested in. And maybe at the moment, they just can't find their way into my bubble and they don't know where it is. And what I'm really excited by is this possibility to build a bridge to show people where we are, and maybe to just put breadcrumbs out on the internet so we can do things online, but we can also let people know where things are in physical spaces as well, so they can connect with the fire, they can connect with stories and poetry, and just breaking down those walls a bit.
Yeah, I think that's actually beautiful and really nicely put. And I think something else about the bridge, like that you talked about bridges when we were talking before making this recording, and I really like what you said. That bridges go both ways, and sort of just throwing line and making connections. And I mean that's so right on, because that is absolutely what we're needing at this time. And if we can do that through the facility of extraordinary online realms, why not? That's a challenge to my my slightly ossified thinking. Yeah.
So I think that's where we're at, really, isn't it? We can
learning.
Maybe we'll make a space. And what's really exciting, I think, about the online space as well, is that normally we're working so hard towards 2 45-minute halves, and it has to be kind of that particular performance piece. And we can build a space that shares these conversations of, and what we have to wrestle with when we're working on a story, of the things that come up for us that challenge us about language or perspective, how we portray things. And I think that we can show kind of all those different perspectives maybe in an online space. We don't just show the final choices that we've made. We can do that as well. And I think,
and and I think as well we can do that kind of broadband of from the very, very simple technologies through to the complex, so it doesn't have to be one thing or the other. I think that's the essential freedom within this potential.
So online spaces, here we come, building up lots of different conversations, here we come. We've got a new artist to head towards, where we might just kind of look a bit more into shadows, because your shadow puppets and with the fire were one of the things that really just worked in the VR world that we started to explore as well. They just looked amazing. So I think we're going to do that next, aren't we? And projection and mapping.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I guess watch this space.
Hooray!
And if you have any feedback on what you think we've done so far, or things that you go, oh, do you know so and so, you should really look at what they're doing or have a chat to them, then please let us know.